right.
How you doing, Steven?
Oh, Jesus. We are recording this one late. This is a late one for me. This is
very late for Steven. It's my primetime hours. It is currently past midnight. It's actually
almost
1 a.m.
Yes.
It's 1 a.m. on the dot, which is kind of spooky, if you will, because, late night always gets a little spooky. But, yeah, so it is 1 a.m. on the dot on August the 9th, just to give you all a timeline of
and it should release today too, because I'm on it. Being that we are coming out with one back-to-back weeks here.
Right.
We got to switch our schedule up again, so so we don't have to be gone for 2 weeks. We are coming back with another episode of the Cinema Discovery Project.
Yes.
I'm Stephen Billings. That's Andrew Cabral. We do our best here to just have fun talking movies and hopefully hopefully talk about something you don't know about. And sometimes just talk about things that everybody knows about and just geek out and have fun. And that's kind of what we're going to do today, since we didn't have a lot of time to prepare for anything. So we decided this week we're going to do a list here. We're going to do our first list episode, I think. I don't think we've done a list episode. And this is going to be, since we're almost through the end of this decade, we decided we're going to do a top 10 of the decade. So 2010 to 2000 to present,
Pretty much.
Yeah, and we thought that would be something easy and fun, and we can reminisce about some great movies over the last decade. So anything else before any roles, or you want to start from 10 and work our way to 1?
Yeah, I would say 10 and work our way to 1. There is actually no overlap between Steven and I.
Yeah,
which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Because I thought we would actually have things in common, but we don't. We have a very
different
I
think
we
both
favorites.
like the movies on each other's lists, but it
Yes.
just happens that we chose some other things, and that's
Very
good. That's
true.
good for the episode, and I'm excited to talk about these movies. I mean, some of the ones on your lists, I don't know as well as you do, and I can't wait to hear more from your point of view. And guys, when we're done, we want to hear from you guys. What are your top 10 of the decade? I mean, type them in. Maybe next episode we'll read off some or something. I mean, who knows? But all right. Do you want to go one and one, go back and forth?
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay.
I mean, I also want to really say specifically that it's our.
Yeah,
it's our personal list, so don't get offended if your favorite
it's not
movie
what we think
isn't
are
on
the
here.
best movies of the decade. I mean, some might think some of these movies are the best movies of the decade, maybe, but these are more our personal lists. Some of these are more personal favorites, and yeah, I mean.
Yeah, and these are our favorites. They're not necessarily the best of the decade. You'll see a bunch of best of the decade lists cropping up right around now. They're kind of our inspiration for this episode, because we kind of wanted to get our thoughts out on there, but have it a little more casual than analytical.
Yeah.
I think, because when you get into analytics, it becomes way more like.
I feel like I would have to have
infighting
seen
and all
a
that
lot
kind of
more of
stuff.
the movies to really have a say on what's the best movies of the decade.
Yeah, and that would require, I think, a lot of rewatch on our part.
A lot of
and
reflecting on movies that.
Because we're going back to 2010.
Yeah.
That's a long time ago for many of us. I can't believe in a way I can't believe that it's already the end.
Well, yeah,
of the
I mean,
decade.
some of
I'm surprised I'm making it to 2020.
Yeah, just looking
so far.
back at the years and seeing what movies, even some of the movies on my list, and I'm looking and saying, hey, wait, that movie came out in 2012? What? Like,
yeah, I know. Got to play the movie date game, basically, where we're just trying to figure out what came out when. It's like, man, I can't believe all these movies came out in this specific year.
Yeah.
But getting into our list, my number 10, starting way at the bottom, is a movie that I fell in love with instantly, and it's a movie that is kind of before or around the time where I really got into really loving movies to an extreme, like really collecting, really getting into things. And this was actually my favorite movie of 2011, and that is the movie 50-50, starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt as well as Seth Rogen. Anna Kendrick is in the film, Bryce Dallas Howard is in the film, Angelica Houston, and it's directed by Jonathan Levine, who at the time, I think this may have
This
been
was his first movie, I'm pretty sure.
his first movie. He's gone on to direct several films. He directed the movie Long Shot that just came out this year,
Yeah.
coincidentally also starring Seth Rogen, The Night Before. He also did Warm Bodies, which is basically a zombie Romeo and Juliet movie.
Yeah.
But 50-50 is one of my favorite films of the decade because it is a genuinely heartfelt and just genuinely layered film. For those of you who don't know about it, basically Joseph Gordon-Levitt is kind of the star of it. It's his story, and he is someone who believes he's perfectly healthy, perfectly normal, and one day he gets diagnosed with cancer. And it's just him having to deal with that and having to deal with the ramifications of that personally, and just how it affects his relationship with his best friend in Seth Rogen, his girlfriend in Bryce Dallas Howard, and a lot of the people he meets along the way impact his life and things like that. It's a very, very underrated film in my opinion, very low-key, but also very genuine. For those of you who don't know, I have a big history with cancer. I had cancer when I was a little kid, so seeing all of the emotions in this film and seeing all of the people and just all the things that you go through, I thought they nailed really, really well. Because I also think that it was a movie that was based on their friend who was dealing with a cancer diagnosis. I can't remember if it was Jonathan Levine himself or if it was
I think it
the
was
writer.
Levine himself, if I remember correctly.
You may be right. Yeah, and I would have to actually go into that, but it basically was based on a true story, quote unquote, if you will, or at least inspired by.
Yeah.
I guess that's more of an appropriate approximation of that. But yeah, that's my favorite film. I've seen it a bunch of times. I have the original poster up, and I'm looking at it right now, and it's the scene where Joseph Gordon-Levitt is shaving his head. It's basically the poster you see on IMDb, and it's just and Seth Rogen has the most weird face in it.
My favorite scene in that movie was the scene where he finally has his breakdown and he's driving the car and he just and he's by him and he's just slamming on the Joseph Gordon-Levitt's fantastic in the movie.
This was part of that time where Joseph Gordon-Levitt was on the rise. This was right around that Joseph Gordon-Levitt era where he did
Premium
500
Rush.
Days of Summer. Oh, okay, we're not talking about that. But he did 500 Days of Summer. He did 50-50. He was in Dark Knight Rises. Yeah. He was in Don John. He was in Looper. And then all of a sudden, he just kind of disappeared over the last couple of years.
He's still around. Yeah, he's around. I think he's spending some time doing some other. He's also a producer of content, and
right.
I know he's been working on that Sandman thing. I don't know if he's doing that anymore, but I know he wanted to do the Sandman show
now that's becoming something completely different. But just going back to what I was saying, it is about the screenwriter of the story, Will Reiser.
Okay.
He was the one who had cancer,
gotcha.
and then he eventually recovered, and they wrote this film.
Yeah.
But it's a very personal film for me in digging up a lot of personal emotions, and it's a fantastic film. I highly recommend it for everyone.
Agreed. All right. Well, your number 10. My number 10 is one that I came to it not when it first came out. I kind of came to it a little bit later, and it just surprised me. I mean, I just think it's a very endearing, a very sentimental. I like sentimental movies every once in a while.
Okay.
And this movie's
you're sensitive man.
Yeah, I'm very sensitive. Don't make me cry. This is a movie from 2013, and it's called About Time. And this is directed by Richard Curtis. It stars Domhnall Gleeson, Rachel McAdams, Bill Nighy. It's about this. Domhnall Gleeson plays this guy who's kind of he's kind of a little bit of a, I wouldn't say a loser, but he's just a guy that's trying to essentially get a girlfriend. That's kind of what he says at the beginning, but he finds out from his father, played by Bill Nighy, that all the men in his family have this ability to travel through time, travel back in time, to be more directly. So he can travel within his life and go back and change things, and it'll have an effect on the rest of his life. So, but the movie is not really about that necessarily. The movie's about how, you have to, the little things matter. don't let life slip away. When you use time travel, you tend to take that for granted. You take things for granted, and the movie delves into that idea of not taking things for granted and just kind of sitting back and marveling at everything. And there's a lot more to it too. It's also, of course, a romance with Rachel McAdams. I just think it's a very sincere film. It really kind of gives me moving every time I see it, and it also makes me think. There's a great father-son relationship in the movie that I just really relate to, and I just think it's a beautiful movie. Yeah,
it really is. Richard Curtis knows how to tug on your heartstrings. He of course did Love Actually, which is another one that's rather emotional, heartwarming film. This film is really before a lot of these actors really popped up. Donald Gleason, no one kind of knew who he was before. He wasn't really anything of note. A really small performance by Margot Robbie. This was around I want to say this was around the same time as Wolf of Wall Street.
It was like it was. I think I think it released right maybe after or maybe right before.
Yeah, but it's something I think she did before. She probably did Wolf of Wall Street, or maybe at the same time. And she's in that film. It's a really, really good, heartwarming, tug at your heartstrings. Probably one of Richard Curtis's better films. And it's manipulative, of course, but man, when it gets you, it gets you.
We say manipulative, but that's the point of movies.
True.
But to manipulate us, they're all trying to manipulate us, whether it's for being sentimental or to try to scare us or to they're all manipulative. Some could be more subtle, but
Very true. Very true.
All right,
should I go to my number 9?
Do it, man.
Should I go to my number 9? Yeah, my number 9 is another film similar to 50-50 in that it is a film that's dealing with cancer as well, and that is Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, based on the novel of the same name. And this came out in 2015, and I saw this in the theater. And man, I wept. Talking about, you just talk about crying while watching About Time. I cried at the end of this movie profusely. And I cried again when I saw it, and then I cried again when I saw it. It's a film that's very emotional for me, and it's very personal because I have that connection with cancer as well, but also because the main character in this film, who's played by Thomas Mann, Greg, is someone who I see a lot of myself in. He's someone who is a cinephile, and there's literally there are moments of this movie where they're talking about classic cinema, art house cinema. There's moments where they go to this library or this place and they're shuffling through Criterion titles and things like that. And they're also he's also a young filmmaker who's in high school, and he's making these really shitty low budget parody movies of classic movies. And he's got he's got a best friend portrayed by R.J. Seiler, who is also really good in the film. They have a great relationship. And the girl who is at the center of, the dying girl part is played by Olivia Cooke in amazing fashion. I thought she was revelatory in her performance in this film. And yet again, it's a very emotional film that really gets at a lot of universal truths when dealing with life and death at such a young age. And there's just a lot of great themes in here that really spoke to me. And it's a film that I visited a few times. And I also, right after I saw the movie, I drove to my local Barnes & Noble, coincidentally the same one where I buy all my Criterions, and I bought the book right away. Yeah. And I've had it ever since. So I really love this movie. And I want to say who directed it. It is Alfonso Gomez Reyon, who is someone whom I'm not too familiar with. He directed a couple of things. Some TV, and mostly TV, actually. Yeah, he directed The Town That Dreaded Sundown. He directed, of course, Me and Earl, the Dying Girl, The Current War, and then a lot of television.
Yeah, The Current War was that movie that's been put on the shelf.
Oh, has it?
That's the one with Benedict Cumberbatch, the about Thomas Edison and.
Oh my goodness! I saw a trailer for that recently at the theater.
I think it's finally getting a release.
Way back when. Yeah, it has a credit here of 2017.
Yeah.
That's been sitting on the shelf for years. Okay. go, Steven. You want to go to your number
All right,
9?
Number nine. This one, the year it came out, which is 2016. You remember me just singing the praises of this. Probably over. I think when we were doing the top 5 weekly, this was my number 1 of that year, and it is Sing Street.
Oh yes. My! I knew this was going to be on this list.
Sing Street is directed by John Carney, who, if you go back and watch the video, I coined this as the Love and Music trilogy. This being the third movie, paired, going with the movie Once, and also what's the middle movie? I'm blanking right now. I'm gonna find.
Is that the? Talk about the movie with
Keira Knightley and Begin Again.
Yes, the Hulk.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and Mark Ruffalo, and but Sing Street's about it's John Carney is a Irish director, and it's set in Ireland. These kids, it's kind of a coming of age story. You got this one main kid who's used to a certain lifestyle, goes to private school, and now he's getting put into public school, and he meets friends and sees this girl, and he wants to impress her, so he starts a band. And it just that whole idea of starting a band to impress a girl, just that relates to me. And I think just John Carney knows how to infuse music into a film without necessarily making it what I would say is a traditional musical. And I love how he does that. And his songs are he's part of the writing team that writes these songs. These songs are so catchy. It's the same year that La La Land came out, and it pissed me off that 2 songs from La La Land get nominated for an Oscar, and none of the songs from this movie get nominated. And Drive It Like You Stole It should have been Oscar nominated. It's so catchy.
Yeah, it would have been a better performance.
It would have been such a better Oscar performance song. Yeah.
Then a medley of La La Land, which the music from that movie is also great as well.
Yeah. No shade on I like La La Land, but Sing Street stole my heart that year, and it's just I love a good coming of age story. And I love good music, and it just that I can watch that movie over, and I've seen it probably 10 to 15 times by now. I love the movie. All right.
Yeah, I ditto with Steven. I've seen it several times. It's a great coming of age film. Great themes of coming of age, and the ending is really
it gets me every time. It gets me every time. Yeah.
It's very Jack Reynor, who plays the older brother in that film, I think is really exceptional. Just giving kind of like very older brotherly life advice that, some of it's good, some of it's not so good.
He's a character that hasn't done a lot with his life, but he has a lot of wisdom. He has a lot of wisdom in that. Not he's very self-aware. So he knows that he has his faults, and he tries to tell his brother the things that he should do so he doesn't do what he did.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, the ending just it gets me every time. But all right. Well, what is your number? Were you number 8 now? Yes.
Yeah, number 8 is a film that not everybody loves, but it's a film that I really love a lot, and that is Blade Runner 2049. The long-awaited sequel.
I don't think anybody thought there was going to be a sequel to this movie.
No. That's why I said long awaited, I guess. This one is directed not by Ridley Scott, who directed the original film. This is directed by Denis Villeneuve, who is, I think, a visionary of modern filmmaking. This film is so many things, and it's really difficult to explain it to people. Because it is, imagine making a $200 million art house sci-fi film, and that's basically what this movie is. Dystopian as all heck. It takes place in the Blade Runner world, years after the events of the first film. It stars Ryan Gosling. Harrison Ford comes back, reprising his role from the original film, and
Jared Leto.
Jared Leto's in the film as well. Robin Wright has a small role. Ana de Armas is in the film as well. She's a really good character actress, but man, there's so many thematic layers in this film, and there's the production, the way this film looks is mind-blowing in my opinion. The cinematography by Roger Deakins,
which he finally won an Oscar.
Finally won an Oscar for it, and it's long overdue because it is gorgeously looking film. Hans Zimmer does the theatrical score as well. It's haunting.
Yeah.
Not only haunting, but it's just like there's a pulse in there, and it's just driving the film. And man, Ryan Gosling is one of the best actors out there who is able to convey so much while doing so little. Just looks and impressions, eye acting, and things like that. He does a lot of that throughout his career, to the point where people I think undervalue his performances. They think it's boring because he's not flashy in any way, and his characters aren't flashy. But there's so much to there that you're not seeing that really needs to be further explored. And man, I know this film is considered, I think, a box office failure or a flop or disappointment, but man, there was no way this movie was gonna be for everyone. There was just no way this movie was gonna make like $1 billion.
No,
you know what I mean? No matter how great the marketing, was or wasn't.
Yeah.
It's just not that type of movie.
Honestly, I don't know how Denny got it made. To like he
know.
tricked him.
Yeah,
he used some kind of mind trick or something, because
he must have had some Nolan mind tricks, which was like, we're just gonna let you do whatever you want.
And somehow he's done
And
it
here you
again.
go.
He's done it again with Dune, because he's
So far, at least from what we hear, they're giving him the money to do it. So Warner Brothers is all in with Denis Villeneuve, and he's an amazing director. He's done Arrival, Prisoners, other films. I
mean, Warner Brothers is known for being a more filmmaker central studio. They invest in Nolan.
Kind of.
Well, yeah, but I mean, sure, they have their franchises, but if you think about any other studio that really like makes the director a star, it's Warner Brothers. Clint Eastwood.
Well, I mean, for a certain perspective, yes. When it comes to like franchises, they have a history of getting involved, and I mean specifically with the current DC stuff with Justice League and Zack Snyder and all that kind of. They did the same thing with Richard Donner for Superman 2, like 40 years ago. They have a history of getting involved in that area, but in other areas, they give people hundreds of $millions to make whatever movie they want.
They're giving Nolan hundreds of millions of dollars to do these original movies.
Basically original movies. There's no IP in those movies at all.
And that's where you have to applaud a studio like Warner Brothers that will make original content, and not Disney who will just keep remaking shit.
Oh. Yeah, I know. Seriously, we could have done a whole episode about what Disney's doing now with Fox, and it would have like gone off the deep end. But we'll get
Home Alone.
Not only that, but just like they're just treating it as a subsidiary versus actual like a year ago they were a legitimate studio. But anyway, we got to get off that train. So that was my number 8.
Yeah.
It's Blade Runner 2049. The original Blade Runner is one of my favorite films of all time. So this was probably going to be on a list somewhere eventually.
Yeah.
So, Steven, what's your number 8, I think?
Yes, my number 8. My number 8 is one that I think is just one of the funniest films I've ever seen. I love it, and I'm pretty sure the debut film of Taika Waititi. Am I saying that right?
I think it's Taika Waititi.
Waititi. I can never say his last name right. But it's
fun to say.
It's fun to say, yes. And everybody kind of knows this guy. He's blown up since doing Thor and whatnot. And but this is his debut film, and it's What We Do in the Shadows. And they did a TV series, so it's getting a little bit more out there. But it's about these vampires that all live in a flat together, and it's just about kind of the delving into the tropes of vampires and don't putting them on their head, and it's just hilarious. It's also got Jermaine Clement is his name from
Clement
from Flight of the Conchords. He's also a co-writer. And yeah, I mean, I just find this film to be endlessly rewatchable. And yeah, I mean, I just, the chemistry, the writing, just the comic timing, it's just it's a wonderful comedy.
Yeah, it's like a mockumentary.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of like a camera crew is following around just this group of vampires, like living and hanging out in New Zealand, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Taika is from New Zealand.
Yeah, he's a Kiwi, I think they call him.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you're supposed to call them that, but yeah, and it's like a mockumentary satire about like vampires and werewolves and all this kind of stuff. The TV show is set in America, and it is absolutely hilarious. I've seen it,
Yeah.
and it follows that comedy right over. It's very dry humor. It's not a humor that's necessarily for everyone, but I really really like it a lot. As you can see, Steven also really likes it a lot. I highly recommend watching it if you're into like kind of quirky, non-traditional comedies. It definitely
I'll also
works.
check out his other film, Hunt for the Wilder People.
That's a great film, and of course you've seen Thor Ragnarok, and he's going to be doing Thor Love and Thunder. He did it. This actually wasn't his theatrical debut. He did have another film before that.
Oh yeah, the shark movie, right?
It's like Shark and something. I almost said Shark and Lava. Girl. That's the same thing. Movie, that is not the same. Oh, Eagle vs. Shark.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had Eagle vs.
I
Shark.
haven't seen that actually.
And he also did a movie called Boy. Yeah, and then some TV stuff, and then What We Do in the Shadows is kind of his big hit that really broke him out, and of course Thor as well. But can I transition to my number 7?
Yes,
right.
Number 7.
Yes, we are on 7. I can't count for some reason.
It's okay. We're going backwards. It's hard to count backwards.
It's that late hour that kind of gets you. But my number 7 is Carol, and Carol is directed by Todd Haynes, who is really becoming one of my favorite directors of all time, or at least if I had to make a list of directors, he's in like the top 25, top 30. He's in that extended list, and Todd Haynes has been around for a while. He's been around since the 90s and the 80s. He was part of the new queer cinema movement of the 90s, and because he's a gay man, so he's a gay director making films about homosexual characters and homosexual themes and things like that. And this film stars Cate Blanchett as well as Rooney Mara. Kyle Chandler's in the film as well as Sarah Paulson, and it kind of centers around a romance. It takes place during a time where a homosexual relationship between two women would be looked down upon, would be something you had to do in secret, and there's a romantic relationship that develops between Carol, who is portrayed by Cate Blanchett, and Rooney Mara, who is Therese, not Teresa. Therese is her name, and they have this whirlwind romance, and the film is so lush and so gorgeously well shot. The acting is incredible, and it was one of my favorite films of 2015, and it's a gorgeous movie. I absolutely love it, and I've revisited it quite a few times. For those of you who don't know, who aren't familiar with Todd Haynes' work, he's the director of I'm Not There, that Bob Dylan movie from a few years ago, Velvet Goldmine, as well as Far From Heaven, starring Julianne Moore, and the film Safe, also starring Julianne Moore, which is on the Criterion Collection. So yeah, that's my number 7 is Carol.
Yeah,
watch this movie because it's amazing.
I haven't seen it. It's one that's
it's one of the ones that Steven hasn't seen.
I haven't seen that one. I need to get around to it. Now, one both of us have definitely seen because we're both big advocates of this film. From 2017, It is Columbus.
Oh, yes.
Yes. This one has stuck with me. I don't know why I love this. I'm not saying it like it's a weird thing, but for some reason I love this movie a lot. It's not an exciting movie. It's a very meditative movie.
It really is. Contemplative.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's direct. This is a first time directed feature film from a one name man, Kogonada.
Kogonada, what a name.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, but he's done a lot of special feature work for the Criterion Collection. So this is his first feature film. It stars John Cho and Haley Lou Richardson, and
yes,
basically this is, like I said, very meditative. John Cho's character is coming back to this small town of Columbus, where his father is working, and he's an architect, and John Cho's kind of never been into the architecture. He's never been into what his father's doing. He's kind of been you could say, defiant to his family, but out of respect for his family, and I guess you could say his culture, Chinese culture, he comes. Or is he Chinese?
I think he's Korean.
He's Korean. I'm sorry, Korean. You're right.
I'm pretty sure John Cho's Korean.
He is. Yeah. And he comes back to see his father, to be with his father, and at the same time, Haley Lu Richardson's character, who is kind of stuck in this town, even though she loves the town, she's kind of staying home because her mother has had issues, and she stays with her mother to help look after her, help pay the bills, so she's got an excuse to stay there. Right. Even though she's a very talented person, she wants to be an architect, or she wants to work in architecture in some way. She's very fascinated with it, and her and John Cho's character meet, and they kind of have this bond that they create between each other that is not romantic. It's more this friendship where John Cho's kind of learning about how to deal with his father through her eyes. How she sees architecture helps him understand his father more, and it's just a very interesting film. I see that it made me see John Cho in a whole new way, and
it was one of my favorite films of 2017.
Yeah,
is when it came out, way under the radar. It was at some film festivals, and then that was pretty much it. Probably had a small theatrical release, very, very small. We literally just got the Blu-ray a couple of months ago. We waited.
We've had it for a while now, but it took over a year for
2
finally
years.
Get a Blu-ray.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, but it's a movie, like Steven said, it's a very beautiful thematic
it's so well
film
directed.
It's so well directed. The cinematography is amazing. It's very, it's not over the top in any way. It's a friendship film. It's a romantic film. It's about human connection.
Yeah.
And genuine human connection, which is something you don't really see, because most connections you see in movies are kind of forced sometimes, especially between a man and a woman. They always force those things, and this film is just not forced in any way. And yeah, John Cho and Haley Lu Richardson are fantastic.
Yeah.
It's pretty much, it made me, there are a few actors or actresses where I'm like, man, I really have to see all of their work, because I'm just that impressed by them. And Haley Lu Richardson, I think, is one of them. I have to see all of her stuff now, regardless of how bad it is. I mean,
she plays a supporting role in Edge of 17. She's pretty.
She is in that. That's good. Where I saw her. That was also came out that same year, I believe. But yeah, she is one to watch, because I really hope she gets good roles and challenges herself.
Yeah, and John Cho has continued down this path I'm loving, where he's right after that he did Searching, which was a very underrated film from this past year, and he continued. I think wasn't he in the Twilight Zone series? He did an episode.
He is, I believe. Yeah. Yes, I think pretty sure. Yeah, he is.
And he's going to be in the new is it Cowboy Bebop film?
Yes, he is. He's going to be in that film as well. So John Cho has been around for a long time.
He was in the Star Trek remake.
I was thinking, I'm going back. Back in time. Harold and Kumar go to White Castle. I saw that in the theater. What was that, 2003, 2004, somewhere around there? And that's where I first saw John Cho and Kal Penn. And so he's been around for quite a while. But moving on to my number 6, I believe.
Yes.
Is a film that I was battling between two films by the same director, and which one did I want to put in my top 10, and I decided to go with this one because of the group of films that it's in, the trilogy that it's in, and this is Before Midnight, directed by Richard Linklater, and this is a film that came out in 2013. It is the third film in his Before trilogy, having Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and now Before Midnight. And these films are set pretty much a decade after one another, or 9 years or so. Or at least the first one was between, the first and second one was 9 years, and then the second one was 10 years. So who knows if we'll get one in a couple of years from now.
Yeah.
I would certainly love it. I don't know.
I'd like it. I'd like
Before the End.
I kind of like it. I don't want them to come back, to be honest.
I think they said all they needed to say about what these films were going for in this trilogy. Yeah. It's literally a beginning, middle, and end of these characters and their journey together, and it does leave things open to where do we go in the future? Life goes on, and all of these things. And for those of you who don't know what the heck I'm talking about, the Before trilogy is one of the most under the radar films you will ever see. By Richard Linklater, who did Dazed and Confused. He did School of Rock. He did a bunch of other
Everybody
films.
Wants Some, Bernie.
Everybody Wants Some, Bernie. He even did the remake of Bad News Bears starring Billy Bob Thornton, which nobody really likes. But he did Me and Orson Welles.
Last Flag Flying this past.
Last Flag Flying. I've always loved Richard Linklater. I've always loved his films.
One of my favorites.
I own so many of them. But I don't want to say what the other film was because Steven may have it on his list and I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, we'll just say what it is later on anyways. But Before Midnight is the reprisal of the characters of Jesse and Celine, who are portrayed by Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy. And they've been this couple that have been together, not really together, but they met in the first film, they reconnected in the second, and now we see where they are in the third, and we see how their relationship has changed between the second and third film. And man, it's a thematic feast and an acting feast that's unbelievable. It's just
it's pretty tough to watch at points.
It's pretty tough to watch because it
gets really real.
It gets very real. That's the one thing about these films is they are very genuine and very real when it comes to, once again, human connection and human interaction, and specifically in this instance a romantic connection as well as a personal connection between two characters. It's just so much to say about these films that I've already said in a video for my YouTube channel, and Steven and I have talked about it forever and ever.
Just go watch.
But yeah, definitely just go watch these trilogy of films.
And they're not long movies. I think the third one is the longest movie, but
I think it is.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it is. So yeah, go see this. So Steven, what is your number
6?
6. Yeah, 6.
This is a movie I saw endless so many times. This is probably the one I saw the most in theaters out of all these movies, and because it was at the 150 theater near me, and I could go in there and watch it a bunch of times. But this one just really connected, like Me on the Dying Girl for you. I think this one connected with me on a very personal level, and it's Perks of Being a Wallflower.
What a film.
From 2012. And this is the one I was like, God, 2012? God, it's already been out for 7 years. God, time just flies, man.
Where's this cast now?
Yeah,
That's what we gotta say.
but you got, Logan Lerman, who's, plays this very subdued kid who has had some troubles in his past, and he's just entering high school, and he doesn't have any friends. He doesn't, and you have Emma Watson, who plays this kind of they're the hipster kids, as you would say, probably most people would say, and also Ezra Miller, who plays her homosexual best friend, and it's really just kind of you could say hangout movie, basically. I mean, things happen there, but there's not necessarily a plot, but there's background character to Logan Lerman's character that you kind of get revealed throughout the movie, and it's just a really great movie about the underdogs, or the outsiders that get either bullied, or it really hit home with me, because as a kid I was bullied sometimes, and I had to stand up for myself, and and there's some very just intense moments in this movie that just get really real for me, and I go back. I have this poster somewhere. It's rolled up somewhere, but I don't know. It's just a movie that I can also go back and watch a bunch of times, to watch in a way that isn't necessarily gratifying, but it makes me feel something every time I watch it.
Yeah, Perks of Being a Wallflower is another film that's just very emotionally deep. It's really, I've been saying this for years, young actors can make or break a film, teenage actors or people playing teenage characters. But yeah, the amazing cast with Logan Lerman, Emma Watson, Ezra Miller, like Steven said. But yeah, it's about these kids who are just misfits.
Yeah.
There's one line that she says, welcome to the land of misfit toys. And they're just they're outsiders. They don't belong anywhere. They're not popular. They're not anything. And there's such a community with them. And then Logan Lerman tries to get into that community. And he's very, like Steven said, reserved. And he's got anxiety problems. He's got, he's got he's got inner turmoil, and slowly it's revealed why he is the way he is and what kind of mental facets are impacting him. It's really deep film. It's based on a book as well, and the movie was actually
it's
written and directed by the guy who wrote the book.
Yep. Steven Chbosky.
Chbosky.
Yeah,
I think that's how you say his name.
Yeah, he wrote and directed the movie, and also, of course, is the author of the book. And he went on to direct the movie Wonder, which is, I think, also a book of his, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe you are correct, but he is also... What else did he direct? He did also, Wonder, which was talk about a tearjerker there. He also... I think didn't he write the screenplay for Beauty and the Beast? Was also starring Emma Watson? I think he did. Yeah, I'm looking at that right now. But it's a great film. Really, really emotional. I saw it a lot, and I kept showing it to my friends too. I'm like, you got to see this movie.
Yeah.
You'll understand why.
Yeah.
You'll understand why. But moving on to my number 5. And the complete opposite of kind of the indie world that we've been talking about is a big-time political drama. Drama. It is a film that came out in 2012, going back to that 2012 golden year, directed by Kathryn Bigelow, and that is Zero Dark 30. And this is the film that is chronicling the decade-long hunt for Osama bin Laden. It really centers around a character of... that is portrayed by Jessica Chastain, character of Maya, who is based on a real life person, and it pretty much chronicles that. And man, talk about well directed movie. It's a movie that I literally just told you that plot line. You're like, oh, that's kind of boring. That's it's political and all that kind of stuff. No, it's very thrilling.
No, it is.
I think it's very interesting, very introspective. The screenplay is really fantastic. Jessica Chastain is amazing in the movie. The screenplay is written by Mark Bowl, who's a really good screenwriter. Kathryn Bigelow directs the heck out of this movie. She also did a movie that won Best Picture.
Hurt Locker.
Help me. The Hurt Locker as well. Another film that deals with like politics, or at least set in the Middle East and things like that. And man, there's a sequence at the end of this movie where it's the actual, going into Osama bin Laden's compound. It's done in like infrared and like all that kind of like, military tactics and all that kind of stuff. And man, it's tenseful. You know what's going to happen. It was in the news. You know what's going to happen, but it's just really well put together. There's a lot of other actors in the movie.
Chris Pratt?
That pop in and out. Yeah, Chris Pratt is one of the Navy SEALs that go in to get Osama bin Laden at the end. Kyle Chandler's in the film. Jason Clarke is in the film. I want to say, what's his name has a great scene. Mark Strong has pretty much my favorite scene in the movie, where he just comes into like a meeting and just like rips this crew. It's like, you guys are just not getting it done. It's a great scene. Watch it on YouTube. But yeah, I really love this movie, and man, I thought this movie was gonna kick ass at the Oscars. I thought this movie was gonna I thought it rake them in.
Yeah, I thought if anything, Jessica Chastain was gonna win, and she didn't. And
all it ended up winning was like sharing an Oscar, which you never hear this nonsense. It shared it for, what was it, like best sound editing? Yeah, it was a best achievement in sound editing. It shared it with Skyfall. And the reason why I think this movie kind of got shut out at the time is because it's a very political movie.
Yeah.
And it's touching on a very lot of political hot discussion points, like how you deal
torture,
with torturing terrorists and all that kind of stuff. And this was before a lot of the modern day stuff that we know now, where a lot of what the film was going into was actually true, where at the time they denied. That's a whole political story for a different time. But it doesn't take away from the fact that this movie is incredibly well made, regardless of politically how you feel. And yeah, I've always really liked this movie a lot. I really like Kathryn Bigelow, and I really wish she would do more.
She takes a long time between movies.
She takes a long time. I'm pretty sure like her next film after this was Detroit, wasn't it?
Yeah,
from like a couple, like 2-3
She might have done. Didn't she do some documentaries too? She might have done a documentary between there somewhere.
She probably maybe did.
If she's in,
she did.
Yeah.
No, she did The Hurt Locker, Zero Dark 30. Last Days was a short. and then she did The Protectors, which was a documentary short, and then she did Detroit in 2017, and then she did another short last year. But yeah, so that's Zero Dark 30. Steven, what is your next on your list?
Number 5 for me.
Ooh, here we go.
All I got to do is do this. Bah, bah.
Uh-oh.
It's the
is that Hans Zimmer out
yes,
here?
it's the score that started the bah movement, and that is Inception. Yeah, I wanted to. I had to choose. I had to put a Christopher Nolan movie on this list because Christopher Nolan in this last decade has given us a lot of great films, and I think this one to me is maybe his most ambitious. You can argue maybe another one might be, but right. I think that the overall idea for this thing is just so crazy and sure, it has its influences. I know. What are the?
Are you going to say what the movie is, or are we just going to guess?
I said Inception.
We all know it. Oh, did you say Inception?
Yeah, I said Inception.
Oh, never mind. I'm not paying attention.
Yeah.
I'm just too busy getting incepted.
Yeah, I've just incepted that I didn't say the title to this in your head, and you believe that I didn't, but I did. But yeah, I mean, there's some really direct influences to this. I mean, that people even say it ripped off. I'm trying to think of what they are. They're anime. It's an anime or something that they say that this ripped off. But Christopher Nolan's such an innovator filmmaker. He did a lot of this practical. Like the scene in the hallway is a practical, wire effect in a hallway that's being on a hydraulic, and it's just crazy shit. I mean, this stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Ellen Page, Ken Watanabe, Tom Hardy is a huge cast.
Young Tom Hardy.
Yeah, huge cast. I mean, and this is a movie about somebody going into somebody's mind and planting an idea to make them believe something. It's so crazy, and the visuals, and this movie's kind of just a one-of-a-kind movie. I mean, there's no real other movie that sits with it. I mean, you could say something like The Matrix, maybe.
I've always thought it being like kind of an inverted version of The Matrix, whereas in the Matrix you go from a fake world to the real world, whereas in the Inception you go from the real world to a fake dream world. Yeah,
but the thing is if it's in your mind, does that make it any different?
Well, yeah, that's one
the
of
question.
the many questions in this movie. This film is thematically deep. I actually rewatched it recently for my birthday back in June. I made it one of my birthday marathon movies, and it still holds up. The movie came out in 2010, and this was one of those movies where this, like we talked about Nolan earlier, how he has pretty much carte blanche at Warner Brothers. He can do whatever he wants. It's pretty much because of the success of Inception, where it's not an intellectual property. It's not part of a franchise. It's not Batman, which he was working on at the same time. This was before Dark Knight Rises came out, and this movie made lots and lots of money, and it's probably his most recognized work other than Batman. Yeah. That's what I'll say. And not that he didn't do amazing work other than this and Batman, but this I think is the one he's people go back to over and over again. Yeah. Steven just went back to it. Man, it's a fantastic movie. Leo's great in it.
I remember the first time seeing it, I didn't even know what I saw. I was like, what the
I think I saw it in theaters, and I was
I was like, what the fuck is this?
It was mind-blowing.
God, what is this shit? I was like, I gotta watch this again right now.
My brother, who is not a big movie person, he watches movies, but he's not to the same level as us. He's seen this movie like over a dozen times because it's so, it gets in you. And this is when I really discovered Hans Zimmer for the first time. Mm-hmm. And his music. Granted, he had been around for like
a couple decades,
20 years beforehand. Yeah. I just didn't know that. But this is also when I discovered Marion Cotillard, I think, for the first time. Yeah. And then Cillian Murphy was in the film as well. Granted, he had already been in Batman Begins and other things, but you started seeing,
he has his, and of course he has his regular players, Michael Caine's and everything, basically.
Michael Caine, yes, he is. He's also in this movie as well, in a small role. Yeah. And it's just amazing how Nolan was able to sandwich this film in between Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. Geez. Like this man must have never slept for years.
He had worked on the script
for years.
He worked on the script for 10 years apparently. So he was
I believe
a lot of prep. And this was a passion project for him. So I mean, he got it done, man. He usually
really
is pretty on the mark. Every 3 years he has a new movie, and so we're very much anticipating his next movie, which is supposed to come out next summer.
It is
Tenet. So,
but let me get back to my list.
Yes.
Back to my number four. And this is a film called Her. Simple title.
Wait.
Complex movie.
Her? She?
Her?
She?
Who? Directed by Spike Jonze. Came out in 2013. And it stars Joaquin Phoenix and the disembodied voice of one Scarlett Johansson. And Chris Pratt's also in the movie. And I think Rooney Mara's in there for like a flashback dream sequence. She doesn't have any lines, but she's in there somewhere. And this is a movie set in the very near future where you basically you kind of befriend an operating system. And this operating system is designed to basically meet your every need. So it's very close to what we're getting to now. Think of a very advanced, a form of Siri or Alexa, someone who is essentially autonomous, that is more, instead of like question based, like you ask, what the weather is or anything like that. This one is more interactive.
Yeah.
It's very, very advanced.
It reacts to your emotions.
Computer technology. Yeah, it reacts to your emotions, and you basically, like you're talking to a person.
Yeah.
And the voice of this specific one, who is, the operating system for Joaquin Phoenix's character, his name is Theodore Twombly, I think was his name in the movie. I remember him having a kind of a weirder last name. It's voiced by Scarlett Johansson. And it's just him getting into his character. You can tell he's a very lonely person and a very, introverted person. Coincidentally, I think also Amy Adams is in this movie.
Yeah.
And she plays like his next door neighbor who also has like an operating system who she befriends as well. And you don't really see that, but you get kind of how this is like a universe-wide thing where it's not only individual, but it's very, very diverse. It's a really in-depth film going into so many different things. Yet again, dealing with relationships and interactions. And this is not necessarily human interactions because it's not another human, but it's a human-like person. How human is that person? And things like that. It really begs that question, where are we going when it comes to technology and human interaction? People always say, oh, everyone's always communicating through text messaging or tweets or direct messages or things like that. Nobody talks to another person in real life anymore. No one makes a phone call or anything like that. And it's like, how far are we going to take that in the future to the point where we're talking to robots, essentially, or we're talking to a disembodied voice that we think is real, but it's not in fact real? And it asks so many questions, and it's a really also sweet story about someone looking for love and connection and things like that. It's a fantastic film. I think it's my favorite Spike Jonze film. He's another director who doesn't do a lot of films very often.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I love this movie.
It's one I need to revisit. I wasn't a huge fan of it when I saw it. I've only maybe seen it the one time. I mean, I love Joaquin Phoenix. I think he's always good. But
he's amazing.
Yeah, I need to see this one again with new eyes. And I'll have to get back to you. Yeah. But moving on to my number 4. My number 4, we're getting back to Linklater here. And this
is it the one that I didn't mention?
The one that you didn't mention. Can you guys guess it, guys?
I don't know.
But as you can see, I love movies that bring me back to my childhood, the nostalgia of that. And this movie is Boyhood. This was a Best Picture contender the year it came out. People thought it might win, but it lost to the movie that's next on my list. Damn, I'm giving shit away. But
I almost said what it lost to, but it's a good thing I did.
Yeah. But this is Linklater's movie that was 9 years in the making, or no, 12 years in the making.
Yeah,
he filmed this, a little bit every year for 12 years, and he follows, because Linklater, his films a lot of times deal with time, and how we, grow through time, and how, and in this film he literally takes it to the max, where he literally, uses the same actors and films a little bit each year for 12 years and then makes this movie. And it's, it has this non-actor played by L.R. Coltrane. And then you have Patricia Arquette, Ethan Hawke, are kind of your two, the parents in the film. And you're following this child who is just about him growing up. It's another coming-of-age story, and how he deals with, his mother, leaving his father, and it just, he dealing with his sister, just normal things. It's not a movie with a plot. It's a movie that's thematically heavy. It's a movie that's a character movie, and it just, I get lost in it. It's a long movie. It is, I think, 3 hours long. I just get lost in it. I love it. The kid's also growing up in a time that I kind of grew up in. So things happen in the movie, and I'm like, oh, I remember Pokemon. I remember, things are familiar to me, but just some of the relationships and some of the things that happen are just, once again, very real. I like films that really bring the real, and Linklater does that better than anybody, I think.
It's an astonishing work, an ambitious work, because films are not made like that typically.
Dude.
I mean, they've done films like that before. Like, he wasn't the first one to do it.
No.
But, damn, it's still
bravo
impressive
to
as
the
all
editing,
hell. Oh, yeah.
Over 12 years of footage and editing that together to make a great film.
Not only that, but bravo to Linklater to get somebody somewhere to fund this idea.
Oh, yeah.
Or to get continuous funding for, a dozen years worth of, and he didn't film like they weren't big production. Like, he'd film for like 2 weeks a year, for 12 years. And what you see is the characters age. You see the characters age, but you see the actors and actresses age. Like, you see Ethan Hawke age. You see Patricia Arquette age. You see all of the people age in this movie, and it's really, really fascinating. It's Lorelai Linklater, who's in the film, I think plays the sister.
Yeah, plays the sister,
is Richard Linklater's daughter, and you see her age. So it's like, when he's going into editing, it's like him watching his daughter age on screen.
It's
over
amazing.
time. It must be extremely personal for him. And what's mind-boggling is, when we're talking about this movie, is that I remember, because I was obsessed with Before Midnight, and I would just watch every interview and watch every talk he would do at every film festival. And I remember him talking about Boyhood, about him being like, there's this movie I was been working on where I filmed every year for 12 years. I got to get the funding to finish it and get a distributor and all that kind of stuff. So I remember when he was talking about this movie, and then it came out the following year after Before Midnight. And I believe Patricia Arquette won an Oscar for this.
Yes.
This was a film was heavily critically acclaimed and was pretty much in line to win Best Picture. And I was pulling for it hard.
I really was
biased.
too. I was too.
Super biased when it comes
but
to
I'm not.
Linklater,
But I'm not mad at the movie that beat it, because I really liked it.
Some people are. Some people. I know the movie you're going to mention next, and I know a lot of people do not like it. that do not like it, and I think it's a bit overrated. But moving on to my list, my number 3 is a film that is, yet again, perhaps a surprise to some, perhaps not a surprise to others. And this is a film called Ex Machina. Ex Machina is the film directed by Alex Garland that stars Donald Gleason, once again, Alicia Vikander, and Oscar Isaac. And very similar to her, you're dealing with a dystopian time that has advanced technology when it comes to AI, artificial intelligence. And basically, Donald Gleason is working for this company, and he basically goes to the main person's house, the main guy's house, portrayed by Oscar Isaac, and he's going there to participate in a groundbreaking experiment, I believe called the Turing test, to really test out this artificial intelligence that is portrayed by Alicia Vikander, this, I guess, robot, for the lack of a better term, or whatever. And the whole idea is to make her so real that you don't even notice that she's not real. And it's that idea. And man, this film is dark and disturbing at times, amazingly well acted, and it really all takes place in one house, in a remote area. So it feels like a haunted house movie.
Yeah.
And there's things you don't see coming, and there's just man, Oscar Isaac is incredible in this movie. He's weird, quirky, perhaps evil, an evil genius, if you will. Like almost like a it's like the island of Dr. Moreau, but with AI as opposed to like creatures.
Yeah, and the end of this movie is everybody's nightmare.
Yeah, it really is. But yet again, it's that idea like as technology goes forward, how closer and closer are we getting to making artificial life be real life?
It's like the question is, it's like, what is the line? What is the line?
Yeah.
Where should we stop?
And should we do that?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Is there a moral? What's the morality of it?
Well, yeah,
we're getting closer and closer.
There's a scene where they're like sitting down and talking outside, and he's talking about like God and like him wanting to basically be God.
Yeah,
like
basically he's got like this super
God complex,
God complex, this egotistical God complex, which is crazy because a lot of the greatest geniuses of all time have those God complexes. Like Steve Jobs, who created Apple and all that kind of stuff. Like he was an egotistical dude as well. You know what I mean? Like the great musicians and great painters and artists and filmmakers and all this kind of stuff. They all have this ego, but they create such amazing things. But how far do they push it to get to create these amazing things?
With this person here, he's testing waters that have never been tested, and they're very dangerous waters.
Very dangerous waters. Watch this movie. I know people who saw this movie were very disturbed by it.
Yeah, it's disturbing.
Shakingly disturbed by it. But I really love it, and Alex Garland, I think, is a really good.
He went on to be a little bit even more disturbing in his follow-up, Annihilation.
Annihilation is very ambitious.
Yeah.
Very ambitious. I love that movie. But if you don't know me by now, I love weird. The weirder the better. The more
cerebral
artsy,
sci-fis.
Yeah. The cerebral sci-fi. Just mess my brain up as much as you can.
Mash it up.
Come on, push it to the limit.
Take it to the limit one more time. Okay, my number 3.
Number 3.
My number 3 is I ain't gonna skirt around it. It's Birdman. Yeah. Yeah. This stars Michael Keaton, Emma Stone, Edward Norton, Zach Galifianakis is in there. I mean, it's Naomi Watts. Another huge cast. This is directed by Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu. He ended up winning Best Director, and this film won Best Picture over Boyhood, which is what we were talking about earlier. I love this movie. I saw this movie so many times in theaters. I took my family to see this movie. I was like, "You're gonna love this movie. It's awesome." Because it's. I love movies that go behind the curtain of things, and this movie really gives you behind the curtain of this stage play that's going on, and you have this actor who's trying to rejuvenate his career, played by Michael Keaton. He's a guy that was like a big superstar with the comic book character, I guess he played in his world, called Birdman, and
you'll get the connections.
Yeah. Oh man, Batman, Birdman.
Birdman? What's a bird?
So it's very meta to Michael Keaton's actual career. And so it's about an actor who's trying to rejuvenate his career by kind of becoming more artistic, you could say, instead of delving into the mainstream and being, successful in the mainstream. He's trying to be more artistic and do a play. He writes the play, he's directing the play, he's starring in the play. And he this movie travels around the backstage in the process of this whole thing, and kind of does what a lot of him and Alfonso Cuarón are known for, which is this almost one take approach where it's like one camera shot that follows around for the whole movie almost. And it's I love this. This movie is so well shot and acted. The acting in this film is amazing. I mean, Edward Norton is amazing in this movie. But Michael Keaton got robbed. Michael Keaton should have won Best Actor. I think he lost to
Eddie
Redmayne for playing Stephen Hawking. Whatever.
Yes, he did.
Whatever. God damn, it's fucking annoying.
Yeah, I saw this in the theater as well. Man, and it was a very interesting experience. I don't think I had ever seen an Iñárritu film at that point.
No, this was my first one too. Yeah.
And this is one that started me watching like his back catalog and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I think it's a really good movie. I know a lot of people out there don't like it, think it's overrated. I personally really like it. Do I think it should have won over Boyhood? I think that's a different question. But
the thing
you
is,
can't
the thing
take
is,
away the technique. They're so different.
they're so
Films are
different.
so different.
I mean, like I could have taken either one, but I was pointing for Boyhood. But I love this movie too. I mean, it's tough. These are almost both at the same number because I love both of these movies so much. And yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, when a movie starts off with Michael Keaton floating in the air, and then he says, "This place smells like balls," I mean, you know it's going to be a great ride.
It was a return.
Yeah.
For Michael Keaton, who had been he's been doing work, but not like amazing work throughout his career. It was also another return for Edward Norton, who started out very hot and then kind of got cold. You know, people's careers go up and down over time. That's just kind of the way things go sometimes. But then after this, Michael Keaton started Spotlight, and then of course he was in Spider-Man. Spider-Man, and his career kind of got a resurgence because of this, which I really like because I've always liked Michael Keaton ever since I saw him as Batman when I was a kid. But
let's move on.
If it's okay, I'll move on to my number 2, getting down to the nitty-gritty.
Let's do it.
Yet again, another perhaps controversial pick, but yet again, it is my pick. It's my Christopher Nolan pick for my top 10. I was debating Steven's pick of Inception, but I have to go with the film that I have a more, I don't know, there's something about it, and I can't even explain why I love this movie so much and why I watch it over and over again, and why I find myself defending it, I guess, and that is Interstellar, that came out in 2014. Nice. This is the film that stars Matthew McConaughey. This was kind of right around his reconnaissance. Yeah, right. This
is in the middle. This is the middle of it. Yeah.
Yeah, after he had won his Oscar for Dallas Buyers Club, this was the film that came out, I believe, the following year. It stars Matthew McConaughey as well as shocker here, Michael Caine. Is Michael?
Yeah, Michael Caine. He has a part in it. Yeah.
He has a part in it as well. Casey Affleck's in the film. Anne Hathaway's in the film. Jessica Chastain is in the film. Man, I've been a sucker for things that have to do with space travel and just sci-fi and science fiction. Oh, they're one and the same. But just, I don't know. When it comes to films like this, I have a fascination towards them. And what Nolan, I think, did with this film, combining philosophy and science and fiction and all of those things, really made me have an experience with the movie I've never quite really had before. I've never had such a reaction to this movie like I did. This movie is impeccably well made. Nolan, amazing. It was written by Jonathan Nolan, his brother, as well as Christopher Nolan. The cinematography in this movie, I've never cried while watching a movie just because of its cinematography, and I cried while watching this movie because of its cinematography. And I've never had that physical reaction before, or emotional reaction, based off of just visually what I was seeing. Yeah. Like, I felt like I was having a religious experience while watching this movie in the theater, and I saw it twice. I saw it once in 35mm and the second time in regular digital projection. And man, it's a film that's dealing with time and dealing with human connection over time, over space. You know, this idea that love is unquantifiable and that love connects us all in a certain way, despite distance, despite time. And it's a film that basically, once again, takes place in a dystopian future where the Earth is dying and we need to find a different place to live. So what's left of NASA is being headed by Michael Caine, and he enlists Matthew McConaughey's character, who is like he was like a pilot, for like an Air Force pilot, to fly this ship in a small crew to go through this wormhole and find potential new home. There's 3 potential new homes, and one of them's got to be the one, so they got to figure it out. And when you get to these worlds, they're all different, they're all distinct, and the visuals are amazing in this movie. Like, I don't even know how Nolan did it. I could watch like the behind the scenes making of, and I'm like, no, I don't even think that's how you did it. I don't know how you did it. I love this.
I agree with you, man. And it's a movie I think I've grown more. I've loved more the more I've watched it. There's only one scene that bothers me, and it is the scene where they do talk about love. It's a little bit. I think it's a little scripted, a little bit
sentimental.
No. I like sentimental. It's just the way it's approached. I think the dialogue is a little bit rough.
Okay.
Because I think Nolan sometimes has problems with emotion in his movies. His movies can tend to be a little cold. So I think when he talks about things that are supposed to be emotional, sometimes it comes off as cold. And I felt that a little bit in that one particular scene. But I think that the themes overall I connect with, and I think that it still works. I just think that one particular scene bothered me a little bit. But I'm with you, man. In the score of this film.
Oh, Hans Zimmer.
Ooh.
Oh, talk about emotional.
Yeah.
Oh, I've listened to it over and over again, and once again, it's one of his best scores. I've listened
definitely.
to it. Like, I would love just to see him in concert, just to hear.
I hear about people on the West Coast talk about seeing him in concert, and I get pissed off every time I hear about it. I'm like,
what's crazy is I had an opportunity to see him last year, because he came, like, the closest he came to me was like an hour away, and I just didn't go.
What the fuck?
I know, I should have gone, because it probably would have been.
Well, you probably thought about the fact there's gonna be crowds, and you were like, nah.
Well, that too. Yeah, travel and crowds and all that kind of stuff. But what is your number 2, Steven?
All right, number 2. We're going way back into to 2010 again. We're going back to the beginning of the decade. This is one that I think kind of defines this time we're in right now. I mean, and I think it still holds up, and it's, to me, it's another one that did not win Best Picture that I think definitely should have won Best Picture the year it came out, and that is The Social Network. Directed by David Fincher, starring Jesse Eisenberg, Armie Hammer, Andrew Garfield, Justin Timberlake, Rooney Mara. A great cast. This was also written by Aaron Sorkin, and if you know anything about Aaron Sorkin, usually very great dialogue-driven scripts. Something like A Few Good Men. He did Molly's Game. He also directed that. He very good screenwriter. And this film is about the guys that created Facebook. And Facebook is something that we use still today. It's been getting some, hit back at it lately, but it's a movie that's basically the Orson Welles of today. In the way the story is about somebody that gains power, and the gaining of power and how he uses that power through his personal. Is influenced by his personal life is kind of what the movie's about. Seeing what Mark Zuckerberg's character, how he uses his power based off of the relationships in his life. He is dating this girl, and then the girl breaks up with him, and then he gets upset, and then he, out of spite, does things, and it's just a very unnerving movie. In parts, the score by Trevor Reznor is amazing. It's such a quietly intense film, and
it really is.
And the acting is superb. I mean, Andrew Garfield was snubbed that year too. I think for acting in that, it was kind of his breakout movie. And yeah, it's just one of them stories. But and who knows how truthful it is. I think that the real life people deny some of the things that happened in the movie, but Fincher's a perfectionist. The movie's so impeccably directed. It's just one of the movies that you get locked into.
I remember when it came out. I don't think I saw it in theater at the time, but when I bought it on DVD or Blu-ray, somewhere around there, probably Blu-ray, I watched it like 5 times, like in like 2 weeks, because people kept wanting to watch it, so I was like, oh.
And this was in the middle. This was in the middle of Facebook craze.
Yeah, this movie came out 2010. Facebook had only been around for a couple of years, maybe 5 to 6 years. Point.
Maybe.
Yeah, Facebook is a relatively new concept. It came around the same time as MySpace and whatnot, and of course, obviously took over the whole social media market through today, basically, for the most part. But yeah, this was a film that really put Jesse Eisenberg on the map, and as well as Andrew Garfield. Jesse Eisenberg has kind of played the same character over and over again.
It's defined his whole career,
since. Pretty much. It's just like this really
neurotic,
very neurotic, like talking very fast, very sly, snarky, character, like Manic and whatnot. And yeah, it's a really good film. Fincher directed the heck out of this movie, and you see that like the origins of Facebook they're not clean. They're very dirty,
Yeah.
and basically one could say Mark Zuckerberg stole the idea from someone and then just made it his own. Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, Armie Hammer's in the movie as the Winklevoss twins.
Yeah.
Where it's just there's two of them, but it's Armie Hammer's just one person. But it was an early form of like the CGI technology that we see now when it comes to like recreating
digital face
there.
replacement. Yeah.
Digital face replacement and that type of CGI and that type of special effects.
Very good, very seamless.
It was very good.
Yeah.
It was very good back then. And it takes place around the early 2000s, like I think like 2003, when Zuckerberg was at Harvard.
Yeah, I was gonna say in your neck of the woods. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an hour north of me, and yeah, it's a really good movie. And when you met Orson Welles, did you mean like his character Charles?
Yeah,
Foster
just
Kane
just like the fact that it's about somebody that gains a certain amount of wealth, and then how he uses that power and that wealth against his friends and like portrays people and.
Oh yeah, if we're talking like Orson Welles and as Charles.
Yeah, as
the
character in Citizen Kane. Yeah.
Oh yeah, where he's just like drunk with power.
Yeah.
To the point where he alienates everyone.
Yeah.
From him, including the people who
I'm pretty sure
him.
I'm pretty sure I've read articles where Orson Welles, Aaron Sorkin had said that he kind of cited Citizen Kane.
Based it on him.
Yeah.
Based it on him.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Whereas in Citizen Kane, it was about like the newspaper company, the newspaper industry versus technology and social media craze that propped up in the 2000s. But yes, that score by Trent Reznor,
yeah, Trent
Atticus
Reznor,
Ross, yeah,
the guy from Nine Inch Nails, man.
Yeah, but everyone always forgets Atticus Ross. I think is the guy who did it with him, because they went on to do
Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Fincher's next film, which wasn't as successful as that one. But
the other film that kind of cites Citizen Kane is There Will Be Blood. Is kind of similar too.
Yeah,
it's another
egomaniacs.
Egomaniacs. They get drunk with power and then alienate everybody. Yep.
Pretty much.
But all right, man.
But let's talk about maniacs. I'm going to transition to my number one.
Ooh, number one, guys.
And here we go. Number one. Drum roll. This is a film that I am still in awe of today, and this is a film that once again came out in the year 2015, which seems to be a running theme throughout my list, and that is Mad Max Fury Road, directed by the George Miller, who was the original director of the Mad Max movies.
The guy that did Surf's Up.
He did Surf's Up. He did Happy Feet.
No, he did Happy Feet. He didn't do Surf's Up.
No, he did. He also did, I think, the sequel to Babe. He didn't do the original.
Yeah, he did the second Babe. Yeah,
he did Babe, Pig in the City, I believe. George Miller directed this film when he was 70 years young, seemingly, because this film has the energy of somebody who is down like gallons of energy drinks that's in like his mid-20s. Because
like
this movie is like injecting adrenaline multiple times directly into your heart.
Yes.
And nonstop. And man, the production of this movie is still mind-boggling to me that somebody, one, gave him money to do this. He was able to do this film despite what I heard was a lot of production, issues and going over budget. And he's still in a lawsuit, I think, with Warner Brothers, because he went over budget, and he's still dealing with that to the point where it's holding up them making a sequel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God damn it, just settle this already.
There's something to do with that he thinks Warner Brothers owes him more money.
Yeah, because like I think the whole idea was that if he came in at a certain budget or something like that, he would get
some kind of bonus or something. Yeah,
get some kind of bonus, but he went over budget, and you can see why. This movie is insane.
Yeah.
It's like it's blending practical and CGI. You've got like explosions. You've got the music by Junkie XL drives this film forward. And the film is also not just an adrenaline-fueled, action-packed feast. It also has amazing themes in this movie. of like redemption and glory and set in this dystopian world of just complete and utter lawlessness. That is like, where as a society did this whole collapse happen, and why are we left in such a state? And it's kind of a sequel, kind of a soft reboot of the Mad Max films that starred Mel Gibson, that really got his career going with Mad Max, Road Warrior, and then Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, which not a lot of people like. But man, this film stars Tom Hardy, Charlize Theron, man, Nicholas Hoult is in this movie, and Zoe Kravitz, just a bunch of people, and I can't express how much I love this movie enough.
Well, you know,
without my mind exploding.
Yeah, I mean, I love this movie too, man. It's a fun movie to watch.
Crazy, man.
It's one of them things. It's one of them movies that I think it sticks in people's minds because it creates a world that is very distinct. And you know, there's a lot of dystopian movies, especially nowadays, but for some reason this one sticks out because George Miller has a certain vision that nobody else has.
Right. And he's able to make this vision come to life very vividly.
Yeah.
And the way he's able to give it to us is in a way that we don't see in movies today in very many respects. You know, like we say, like I feel like once again it was Warner Brothers that he worked with that basically gave him like 150, 200 million or whatever, and sent him off into the desert and is like, "Here, make your movie." And it's like, damn, this is what we
That's
got.
what I'm saying. Warner Brothers takes some chances. They take some
and it's just it's awe-inspiring of the things I'm seeing, because I don't see this at all. Yeah. It pushes the medium forward in a way that you don't see. It's not safe at all in any way. It's a movie that is not reliant on a really rich plot, first, second, third acts, certain things like this. It's a road movie, literally. It's a car. It's a 2-hour car chase. It's crazy.
But the stunts are amazing.
The stunt work is incredible. If there's any movie, everyone's talking, having stunt work getting more recognition. You just watch this movie and you're like, did people like really do this? And it's like, yeah, they really did. Yeah. And it's just an astonishing.
And the MVP, the guy with the flamethrower guitar.
Oh yeah, the flamethrower. I forgot what they call him. I used to know what they call him. Oh man.
No, damn.
Yeah, but that guitar was actually real.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's what people don't understand. It's like it's actually a guitar with flames coming out of it, which is just absolutely bananas to me that anybody would create something like that. And where can I buy one? Just
that's not safe. That's
probably
we don't need that.
And you got like the names of the characters in this movie are nuts. Like Mad Max, you have Imperator Furiosa, this character's called Nux, and like Rictus Erectus, and Immortan Joe. It's like, whoa, man, like this is crazy.
Yeah,
it's mind-boggling.
It's amazing. Yeah,
it's so original. That's what I really love about it. It's very original.
Yes, definitely.
But before I go talk for another 20 years about this, what's your number one, Steven? Because I'm very curious.
Okay, number one. This one, I love films that are more on a personal level. I love character movies. And I remember going to a little indie theater to see this film, and this was kind of it's not the debut, but this was really the debut for all of us, to the director Damien Chazelle, and that is Whiplash. Whiplash, about a jazz drummer who's making his way into school or art school, and he gets picked into, I guess you could say, the head jazz group in the school, played by the man. I'm forgetting his name for some reason. I'm going to look it up. I'm sorry, guys. This is not good.
But what's his name is in the movie?
J.K. Simmons is the teacher, and Miles Teller is the jazz drummer. And this is in this movie is a battle of the wills throughout the whole movie, where it's this movie about how far is too far when it comes to your art, or whether it's competing in anything, trying to be the best at something. How far is too far when it comes to like trying to become the best at something? And J.K. Simmons' character plays a very morally ambiguous character. Because some people might say, hey, if it wasn't for somebody like that, our Miles Teller character might not have ever been as great as he is by the end of the movie. But is that really how we should get stuff done? Like, I don't know. It's pretty dangerous because some very disturbing things happen in this movie on our way to this greatness. And it's just it's a movie to, when you watch it, you just are questioning what is right and what is wrong here. And it's also got amazing music and some of the best editing I've ever seen in a movie. The way they edit the cuts to the music is just fantastic. I mean, and of course the performance by J.K. Simmons, I think they were showing, I saw that shit all over Facebook and stuff all the time. You know, Get on My Tempo was something that people would make fun of in, you know, comedy sketches and things like that. And, yeah, it's just such an intense, amazing film. And, yeah, I love it. It's probably my favorite movie of the decade. So
yeah, it's an amazing film. I think I saw it in theaters as well, or if not, I saw it on Blu-ray because I remember this was the film that really put Miles Teller on the map, and I already knew who J.K. Simmons was. I mean, he was in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films, and he was in a bunch of other movies as well. But this was when Miles Teller was really on the rise, and he's also kind of drifted off a little bit over the last couple of years after having this kind of meteoric rise. But the real star is Damien Chazelle. Damien Chazelle has only done 3 movies in his career, and they've all been, in my opinion, very, very good to great.
Yeah.
Or I would say they're all great, in my opinion. Yeah. Whiplash, La La Land, and First Man. I really love First Man. I know some people don't.
I'm up and down on it, yeah.
I think that's a whole other story. We don't got time for this. But it's good. It's good. I like it. I'll just say this. I like it. But La La Land, I think, is the one that got him the most critical acclaim. I mean,
it's actually probably his most,
accessible?
Well, it's his... No, I was going to say it's his most diverse in the sense of who likes it and who doesn't. It got a lot of backlash.
Yeah,
it got a lot of backlash.
Oh, it did, didn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I would.
Some people have gone back on this movie and they hate this movie because they think it's about the white it's a white movie.
Oh, yeah. There was the whole thing where it's like, oh yeah, Ryan Gosling saves jazz.
He saves jazz. The white guy saves jazz.
And I'm like, I mean, he's a jazz enthusiast. Like, he likes jazz and he's like a jazz pianist, but whatever. That's a whole different La La Land discussion for a different time. But yeah, Damien Chazelle is, I would say, not even rising star because he's already here.
He's already,
but.
He's only like 32 years old, and he's like...
What's crazy is he was born in the same city I was born in 2 years before I was born. So we're like the same. We're like brothers, basically.
Yeah, basically brothers.
Yeah. Clearly, damn, connected at birth just by 2 years.
He's definitely somebody that's interested in classic film and foreign film, like, because I know his next film is going to be a musical.
And it's called Babylon?
Yeah, and it's apparently very inspired by John Demme. His films,
Umbrellas. Jacques Demme.
Jacques Demme. Yeah. Umbrellas of Cherbourg and things like that.
Well, I mean, La La Land was literally
it was
an homage to Umbrellas of Cherbourg, just in its aesthetic.
Or I'm sorry, I might be getting confused with something else, but I'm thinking of Wes Anderson's next film is going to be a musical. That's what I'm thinking about.
What is interesting is Babylon just says plot unknown, and Emma Stone is rumored as well as Brad Pitt.
I got that confused with what Wes Anderson's doing. He's doing a musical.
We all do. Yeah, we all do sometimes.
But but he still is. He's a very, very influenced by classic cinema, and
he's also very influenced in music.
Yeah, very much in music. Yeah,
the music in his movies are fantastic, and I think because he has a music background, I want to say.
Yeah, I think he's a jazz pianist.
I think you are,
because he was going to do a film with Miles Teller about a jazz pianist, but I don't think that's it.
I think, wasn't Miles Teller supposed to be in La La Land?
I think initially he was gonna do it, and then I guess.
Yeah, I also the same thing with Emma. Wasn't Emma Stone supposed to? It was going to be somebody else other than Emma Stone, but this is all trivial stuff that we can. I think Emma Watson was supposed to be in it, and she did Beauty and the Beast instead, or something like that. Interesting career choice. Yeah, but that's Damien Chazelle. He's really talented, and Whiplash, I honestly can't I wouldn't fault you for saying that, because of all the lists I keep seeing for like best films of the 2010s. I keep seeing Whiplash really high.
Yeah,
and it's a great. It's a damn good debut film.
Yo, fuck.
Imagine that as your first movie.
Well, I honestly, I do think he has another movie. I might be mistaken. He might have one other movie, but I might be wrong. I know he did a short for this before it came out, but I think he might have.
Yeah, he did a short for Whiplash.
I think he does have.
Oh, he did do a movie in 2009 called Guy and Madeline on a Park Bench.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but it was on the Criterion Channel, or it was on Filmstruck when Filmstruck was around, and I didn't get a chance to watch it. So technically, it's not his debut, but it's basically his debut because nobody saw that other movie.
I guess you could say it's his not follow-up.
It's his coming out party.
Yeah, his coming out film, basically. Yeah, so that's kind of is both of our lists.
Yes.
That's kind of 2010. The 2010s really spread out to find.
Yeah.
From 2010 all the way up to 2019. Unfortunately, you probably noticed that none of the movies from like the last couple of years really made our lists. Although that doesn't say that there weren't amazing movies in those years. Certainly so. 2019, I'll say this so far,
not really impressing me that much. No.
Nothing really. I mean, we're not in that awards Oscar season yet. The festival movies really haven't hit the theaters yet at all. Some have.
And of course, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen everything, but I mean.
No.
But I mean,
I haven't seen everything either. I mean, if there were a couple of films that would have made this list from the last couple of years, you probably would have seen things from me like Moonlight.
Yeah, Moonlight maybe.
Or 12 Years a Slave is an older film, but that was another film that Steve McQueen is an amazing filmmaker. Things like Hell or High Water was a movie I really liked a lot. It's really kind of just based off of how we were feeling in the moment, and I think when you come to lists like that, I think we all reserve the right to change our lists.
It's not very definitive. It's
not set in stone.
Yeah, it's just something that, if I had to pick 10 movies, these 10 I feel like encapsulate me the best for my taste.
Right. I mean, you could
at the moment.
Nightcrawler.
Yeah, Nightcrawler was actually on my list for a minute, and then
was it on your list?
And then I took it off.
I mean, 8th Grade almost made my list.
Yeah.
Because that movie really talk about a movie that's really.
I mean, even a movie down to a movie like Warrior. Warrior came out.
Oh yeah.
And I love that movie. It's one of the best sports movies I think of the decade.
Dude, I'm just looking at my list now. I had Creed, Roma, The Raid 2, which I think is one of the best action movies ever. Wolf of Wall Street is another one that was Scorsese's film that I really like. Silence is amazing. Silence is really good. Mud. I know we all really like Mud, a Jeff Nichols film.
Yeah. Taking Shelter.
Yeah, Take Shelter is another one. I had a Separation, Asghar Farhadi's film, which is a film it's an Iranian film that really put him on the map. His films keep getting nominated all the time now for best foreign language films.
I mean, even Nolan's other film, Dunkirk. Amazing.
Dunkirk could have been on this list easily. So there's a whole list of other films that could have been on this list, but these are the films that we chose.
These are the ones we decided to talk about, and like we said, at the beginning, if you guys want to share your list with us, we'd love to see them, and maybe we'll read some off and talk about them on the next episode, and we just like having conversations about film. This was a good chance to talk about a lot of films we haven't gotten a chance to talk about, that's what a list can do for you. And
it's a blast from the past. Certainly, it really put me back into when I saw these movies, and I really talk about time, literally. And when we were talking about like movies that comment on time and things like that, man, I can't believe all these movies came out so many years ago.
I can't believe I lived through all these movies.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
And a lot of my formative years, lived through my 20s, through these movies. Yeah. But that's going to be it for this episode of the Cinema Discovery Project. Where can we find you, Andrew?
You can find me on Twitter at Cabzilla06, as well as my YouTube channel, Cabzilla Productions.
And you can find me on Facebook, Stephen Billings. You can also find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Podbean. I don't do YouTube anymore. It's just too much work. I don't do the YouTube audio on there anymore. It's been a while since I've done it, so you don't go there. I just don't do it anymore. It's just too much work. So that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you for listening, and hey, keep on watching them movies.
I know I will.